You're not supposed to know I'm recording.
I was
I'm like, oh, she's going. She's going there.
Well, it said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, Dream Doers. Today's a really special episode because I'm here with an amazing human. Today on the Dream Doers podcast, I'm beyond excited to introduce to you a powerhouse of purpose and perseverance, Stacy Rich, founder of S Rich Life Coaching. Her journey started right here in Kansas City, and now she's expanded all the way to the sunny beaches of Panama City Beach. And I'm so excited. I've known this woman for over 20 years. So let's welcome Stacy Rich to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's actually been over 20 years if you think about it, because we went to elementary school together. But we don't have to mention that.
It's been 30 plus years. Well, let's go like way back then, like way back there. So tell me what your very first job was ever.
Oh, wow. My very first job ever was actually like in school was a record store. I worked at Camelot Music in the center in the mall.
Oh, I didn't know that. How
Yeah.
old were you?
I think I was 15, 16.
Huh,
Yeah,
that's
and
fun.
Tech Nine would come in all the time, and yeah, he was trying to. That was when he was trying to get his stuff known, and he'd come in with a bunch of CDs and stuff, and sign them, and allow us to give
That's
them out, and it was
hilarious.
fun. Yeah.
What a good start. So it's funny because I was kind of hoping it would be, another lower, less awesome job, and then we could have really built up, but you just started with a bang.
Oh well, then I went to Bob Evans and was a server. I mean,
No,
I had
those
an
are
ebb and
great.
flow.
Those are great jobs. So I kind of want to hear today the evolution of not only your mindset and where you started and what your big vision was for your life, and then how you kind of stepped through each season. Did things go according to plan? What were your next jobs? How did you navigate from there to here? And you can tell us that whole process.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lengthy process, right? I knew when I was younger. The crazy thing is that when I was younger, I knew what I'm doing now was what I was supposed to be doing, but I got in my head about it and tried to look for other avenues for it. So I originally like wanted to do film. I went to school for visual communications, and so I knew that like film or journalism or something in that creative visual aspect world was where I wanted to be. I wanted to be the next Oprah, like that was where I wanted to be. But what I actually did was I went from serving to I actually worked at a warehouse, musician's friend. So it was like this I was like some way shape or form still in the entertainment type mentality, if you could say that. um, but then I went from there to like I think I did another serving job and then did like training for them, and that was a lot of fun. And then I ended up in the corporate world, which is kind of what catapulted me to here. So like I never really stayed in one thing. I was very much like, I mean, everywhere I worked was always 1 or 2 years long. But then I went to this corporate job, and someone that actually worked with me previously was like, "You would be great here. You do training. Like, we're looking for trainers." And it was right around the 2008 crash, which it was in mutual fund securities. So I didn't end up becoming a trainer there, and I ended up working in their client relations. And it was just like this experience of people hating Mondays. Like, everybody was so dreadful being there. And I just remember thinking, what am I doing? Because when I first went in there, I was like, well, I don't want to do any of these crappy jobs that I've done before. And I was like, I'm going to be an adult and go to a corporate job. And I thought, like, I was like, this is where it's at, all the security I'm going to get from there. But really, I got like, it just sucked the life out of you because everybody was so unhappy. It was like so mundane, people yelling at you, people like you get in trouble for going to the bathroom, like it was just weird. And I just realized I had this epiphany that like I want to get back to the visual side of me, and I went to back into the film world, and I started doing film projects and working with a television station, and then oh, you're bringing me way back. I'm like, dang it, what did I do? Oh, and then I became I started working with the local film community in Kansas City. I was on the board of the Kansas City Women in Film and Television for a few years, and then I became executive director for the Kansas International Film Festival. I worked with them for 11 years. It was amazing, and then the pandemic happened, of course, and during that time, by the way, I never did just one thing. So I was always like doing multiple things. So while I did the film festival, I was also building businesses. So at that, you didn't expect this answer to be that long, did you? But
Love it.
when I was at that corporate job, my childhood best friend and I had built our very first business, and it was a brick and mortar. We did a little boutique custom furniture store on the Independence Square, and we had so many custom orders that we were like, it just didn't make sense to have a brick and mortar. But and then I quickly realized it wasn't really for me. I did it and I was done. I knew that I didn't want to like stay one place. I wanted something that I could do anywhere. And and then when that happened, I got the inner entrepreneur bug, and I was like, oh my gosh, the desire to like build my own business and being able to like have the creative freedom and having the like development freedom and the option to like even down to the contracts and knowing who you're going to work with and having all of those choices was just like lit me up. And so I started building businesses from there. And I had a marketing company, so I did marketing for businesses. And then of course the pandemic happened and took a break. It was actually crazy. The film festival and my largest clients let me go all within 1 week of each other, and it was just like, okay, universe, I'm totally hearing you, and I wanted a break anyways. I felt exhausted making all the decisions I was having to make on a daily basis. I was actually looking for a good partner to take on the business with me, and I wasn't finding it. So I took a break and ended up working at a retailer for the first time ever in my life, and met my new business partner from that experience, and we started a trucking business. And during this time, I still did marketing and coaching for people. So like it was just kind of like a side thing that I did, and then the trucking business took over, and we ended up becoming a multi-million-dollar company. Did big box retailer deliveries, and ended up in a situation where we unfortunately had to close the business because we were taken advantage of, and we had to take legal action and that kind of thing. So but yeah, and that led me to here. That led me to, I'm really passionate about my coaching business, and that is my full throttle now. It's like all the things that were holding me back on really putting it forward has finally dissolved. And now I'm really passionate about helping businesses and building more businesses. And I know that was a very lengthy answer, but I've done a lot of things. I've never really gone from, I've never just gone down the road of just doing one thing, or like I always enjoyed the navigation and the ebb and flow of like challenging myself, and then knowing like that corporate job, I knew that I was going to gain things out of that job, the structures and things that I would need to take on to what I was trying to do. So I was open to it, I was open to the journey.
That's what I was going to say is before we go too far forward, going back to your corporate job, what did you learn the most about that and that environment
Yeah.
and that mindset, that age?
Yeah, and that was the one I disliked the most. And the crazy thing is that even though that was the one I disliked the most, it was the one I gained the most out of. And the
Hmm.
reason is because I learned a lot about myself. So the things that triggered me, the things that I really felt was just not right or didn't feel right with my soul, allowed me to have awareness of that. Having awareness to every Monday, people walking in, and I say this all the time, like Monday's my favorite day of the week, and I worked hard to make that the case because that's just always been my compass. I'm like, I never want to work somewhere or be doing something in my life to where I dread a day that happens every 7 days. Like that's a lot of days of
Yeah.
the year. I don't want something, I'd like, that's my compass. If I'm dreading waking up the next day or a certain day of the week, then I need to recalibrate. And so that was something that I really learned there is, you heard the same thing every day or every Monday. It was like, oh, it's Monday, like, oh, just another Monday. Ugh, I can't believe the weekend's already over. You hear the same thing over and over. And then every single day of the week, it was like the same thing, oh, it's hump day. Like we're looking for it. We're almost there, oh, it's almost Friday. Oh, yay, it's Friday. Like, oh my gosh, it's already Sunday. Like the same, thoughts. And I'm just like,
What
oh,
was
I can't even
Tuesday
imagine.
and Thursday? The forgotten days?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Tuesday is like the hangover of Monday. I mean, that's like the official Monday. That's like the day that people actually, start getting productive because Monday is the hungover day of like having to deal with being back there in the first place. But that, I mean, so like learning that I didn't want something that controlled the way I felt in such a manner, right? But two, it taught me morals, because we did work in the financial world and learning a lot of things about the financial world and those companies and that kind of thing. Like it was always my goal to be mission driven, but also to not have to not allow myself to be a part of anything going forward that I felt morally wrong about. And then the structure that I didn't see myself ever working somewhere in a place that had a cubicle or that I was forced to go to on a daily basis. So I learned a lot of the things I do not want. So that was probably, even though, and then, but also lastly, I learned the things about building a business that I would have never learned anywhere else if I didn't have the opportunity to observe that corporation and the financial side of things. Because everybody that knows me knows I am not a math magician, and I'm not a fan of like I'm not able, like I just, my brain doesn't work in that calculated manner. So numbers are not really my thing. But everything I learned there, I learned so much about the stock market and budgeting and things like that, that those are things I was kind of forced to learn. So the things like the missing link for me to be able to do things on my own, I learned from there. So I'm very grateful for that.
You've had so many different paths. I'm sure you've learned a well rounded amount of things at all of the jobs that's kind of created who you are. And what I know about you is that you are a very free spirit who goes where you feel needed, whether that be where you're currently living or what you're doing in your job. So tell us how you got to Panama City Beach.
Okay,
I
that's
mean, I
actually a
know
fun
this
story.
story, but everybody wants to hear this funny story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's actually, I always wanted to live in Florida, and it was a bucket list thing for me. And I thought it was going to be, it was never something that I felt that I could obtain in that moment. I was like, later in life when I have a lot of money or whatever, and I feel settled or whatnot. But I was like, there were things that happened in my life that made me question, like, well, why can't I? And so I was kind of searching for that opportunity of where I was going next. And then I just decided that I'm going to go regardless. I can work from anywhere. I can make anything happen if I put my mind to it. So I'm going to do it. And then that was when you and I kind of reconnected, and I was in the preparation process of making that move. And then you and I started hanging out, and it was actually kind of funny. So I was praying because I was like questioning, am I actually supposed to go? Because everything's so hard. Like everything's becoming so hard. Like I was supposed to move to St. Petersburg, but then the hurricane hit. And it was like, okay, well, never mind. I don't want to go there right now because clearly it's, a stressful experience for everyone there. And I took that as a sign. And so I just kept kind of allowing things to happen to navigate where I was supposed to go. And when you and I started hanging out, I was really enjoying for the first time truly, because I travel a lot. So like not feeling like I'm in Kansas City is also, I love Kansas City. Like I'm wearing my Chiefs shirt, like I'm a huge Kansas City fan, especially now that I've left. I really appreciate it. But I knew that wasn't where I wanted to live. I wanted to live by the water. And so when you and I started hanging out, I was really enjoying it. And I was like, these are the type of associations I've been praying for and the type of things I've been wanting to do. And I'm like, why now? Why now in Kansas City? Right. So I prayed and I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, I need to make a decision. Like, this is crazy. Um, if I'm really supposed to move to Florida, then I need a sign from you. And I saw I said in my mind, I needed to be a crazy sign that I will not question. And so what I immediately saw in my mind's eye was one of those cartoon whales. I think there's like an emoji similar to it where it's like a, the humpback or whatever. And then it's got the water shooting out of the spout. And I was like, okay, it needs to be that whale specific. If I see that whale, and I want to see it by the end of the weekend. Right. So this was like a Friday. And then you and I were going Saturday night to a party, and it was like, we literally had no idea what we were going into. We knew no one. We like, thinking back, we're like, as I'm telling the story, like people listen, they think we're crazy. Like we went somewhere where we didn't know anyone, someone's house. All we knew that it was an invite on Facebook, and we enjoyed the type of content from that Facebook group. Like we're like, let's go. So we get there and we're literally talking as we're getting out of the car. We're like, this is the type of things we love to do. And we're talking about our friendship and our relationship. And we're like, why do you have to move? Like, these are the things like I would love to have someone do with me. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. And I'm literally in my head, like, what is happening? Why am I having such amazing experiences now that I'm actually leaving? And I'm like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to leave. We go up to the door to go into the house, and on the door
This is the
is
best
a
part.
welcome sign that says whale come, like spelt like WHALE come, and then has the actual image of the whale right in my face on the door of this house. And I'm like, uh, okay, I wish I would have taken a picture of it. So I was like, that's it. I'm supposed to move. That's it. I'm supposed to move. But what I realized is that then that Sunday I went inward because I was like, what is happening? Like, why did you show me that sign when I'm having the best time ever? Right. And it was because I'm no longer, like, in my mind, I was like running from things. I was going through a lot in my life at the moment. And I'm like, I just want to get out of here. It wasn't Kansas City. It was just, I needed to move, I needed to shake things up. And I was like, okay, what I got inward was that I'm no longer running from, now I'm running to something. I'm being intentional. Yeah. And so it was like, okay, well, here I go. And I literally was like, I don't even know where I'm going in Florida, but I'm going in February. And I went to realtor.com, saw a place I really liked, and it was in Panama City Beach, Florida. And I was like, that's it. So here
And
I am.
I've been there, and let me tell you, Stacy lives at a resort 24/7. It's like she's on vacation all day, every day. I'm like, where are the people bringing the drinks? We're under the cabanas with the waterfall and the palm trees, and I'm like, this isn't real life, but it's her real life now.
Yeah.
And let's add to it, you were driving somewhere and you, like right after that incident, right? The whale situation, and then you saw a Florida license plate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was when I was Marco Polo, and I was Marcoing you, and I was on my way home from somewhere, and I was like, I just don't know if I can do it or something. And I was like questioning it. I'm like, I can't believe I saw it. So I was telling you about the story of the whale. And I'm like, but this feels so wrong. Like maybe I just shouldn't be going. Everything's just so hard. And then the car that cuts me off is a Florida plate. I was like, okay, I get it.
And let me tell you, Stacy is such a mentor of mine. she was in high school. She definitely is now. Like she's taught me so much about trusting your gut, you know, believing in yourself, picking and then sticking with the plan. And so it's really funny to hear her say, like, show me the most obvious sign ever, and then receive the most obvious sign ever, and still question herself. When I'm like, I'm going to mirror it back to you because what you would tell me is trust your gut and just go. So, what did you end up doing weeks
I
later?
just left.
I get a phone call. Hey, you want to come to my storage and help me? Like I'm getting ready to move to Florida. I'm like, okay. So I go over there and she's telling me a little bit, but we're doing a lot. We're like packing boxes and so I don't get the full scope here. And then all of a sudden the next day she texts me and or I think you did Marco me or FaceTime or something. And I said, where you driving? You said Florida. I'm just going. And I was like, today? So when you lean into the alignment that's happening and when your eyes are open to seeing all of it and trusting it and then just going, it leads you to such beautiful places. Look where you are in your life. So with that said, tell us exactly what you're doing right now. I know you talked a little bit about your coaching business, but what else do you have goals for right now? Give
Gosh,
me 1 second because your puppies are barking.
I know.
I can cut it out. Oh, I can mute you. Can you hear me? I can mute them. My dogs were literally, I can cut this part. They were literally sitting here chewing their food and drinking, and I was throwing things at them like, shh.
Give anything to just like scream at them right now.
It's okay. The other ones weren't that bad, but that was loud. So anyway,
Yeah.
your goals right now. What have you been focused on? Like, where are you at in your business? And then what are your, big dreams forward now that you're in Florida and you're soaking up the sun? What do you see your life looking like?
Gosh, well, there's a lot going on, and I'm like I don't even know where to start. I'm just so excited. I think in reference to me moving to Panama City Beach, it's like I love it here, but I'm so disconnected from there. It's very rural here. I didn't realize how rural it was because if you step out of the touristy area, it's not like there's not a city as you and I learned. um, there's no skyscrapers. But there's not a lot of development. And so what I've learned is like I have a lot of time to focus on what I really want. And I've learned a lot while I've been here. And my coaching business is number one for me. Ultimately, I want to help people in however way that I can, especially women. I want to help empower them to create their own businesses. And if they're feeling insecure in a way of doing something or bringing something into their life, I call it intentional living. Like, having that not caring what day it is of the week mindset. I want to help you get there, so that's any outlet that I can do that. I want to do that. So I have my Rich Connections podcast, which is focused on having those hard conversations and being able to have dialogue that is uncomfortable, but yet also intimate. And so I've got that avenue, but then I've also got something you and I are doing together called Rich Life Alliance. And this is so I told you guys about my trucking business. Well, I actually when that trucking business everything went down, I ended up in a situation where we needed legal support, and thankfully we were able to get that. We were able to get all the answers that we needed and the representation that we needed. But I just made it my goal. It's a huge passion project of mine to advocate and educate people on their rights, and educating people that you have access to knowing your rights. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't think that way because they're not used to that. They're only used to if your back's against the wall and you're forced to put up a bunch of money, do you have access to being represented or having an attorney in your corner. So that's something that I want to educate people on. I work with a company called Legal Shield that empowers businesses and entrepreneurs and individuals to have access to their rights and to over around 90 areas of law. And so that's something that I'm very passionate about. And I know that's something you're very passionate about as well. And so we've collectively joined forces on our Legal Shield adventure called Rich Life Alliance. And I'm really, really excited about that. I think there's a lot of different ways we can help women with that. Women, anyone in general, right? Anyone that needs that advocacy, but especially women, because there's so many ways that we lose our voice out of insecurity and also not having that support, and we're always the support system to others but not having it ourselves. So this is something that I'm very passionate about, not just the resource itself, but giving women like yourself and myself and other women or people that want to build extra income to really help them build a business and really help them learn how to create their own time freedom and their own independence and flexibility, and just having a backup plan if they ever need it too, right? So I'm super excited. I'm so excited about what's to come.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know how much she was going to speak on this because this is very fresh, very new. We're building it as we speak. She didn't want anyone to know, and here we go. We just dropped it. We're releasing it super soon, so it's really exciting.
Well,
I will
I figured by the time that you release this, that will be
Monday.
oh god. Okay, well, here we go. You just dream it and you do it, right?
That's right. This is why it's the Dream Doers podcast. And with that said, I had big goals and visions for my life as well. And as we know, things evolve and change, and one door opens and another closes. And if you're a dream doer, you're dreaming, but you're also doing. And so you're taking those opportunities. For me, I spent a lot of time in prayer thinking, I love my jobs. I want to feel like I can serve others more than I am, and I'm not getting that fulfillment in my job, nor am I made to work at home with my dogs and cats. I'm a people person. I want community. I see a big vision of women empowerment. And so it was really cool how the earth aligned both of us at the right time. We were already great friends in high school, but we had such a big gap that we didn't really stay connected. And then when we did, it was funny. Someone said, you should reach out to Stacy. I said, Stacy who? Oh my gosh, I know Stacy. And how awesome when the stars align and you have the same goals and the same visions, and so do I, and you're trying to find that same thing and that same person and me. And after we talked for hours, look, it's also aging us that we keep talking about Marco, but this is how Stacy and I communicate, because we can catch up whenever, we can answer whenever, we're still a part of our lives. And I knew her moving to Florida would feel lonely. She doesn't have people there, right? She's a risk taker. She's a doer, and she just went. And I said, okay, we're going to Marco all the time so you feel like I'm right there. And it does. It feels like that, even though I can't hug you. But back to what I was saying, it's really special when you start to have that conversation and realize, oh my gosh, this is my person. Like, obviously not a romantic partnership person, but a person to do life with and share the same goals, and then to create something. And that's what we're doing. That's what she just announced. So Rich Life Alliance will be a thing here very soon. We'll put all that in the show notes, and we'll tag that everywhere too, as well as her coaching business. But I know that you've been through a lot on that journey, and you had ideas of certain people doing those things with you, and it didn't work out. So if you could tell anyone who's dreaming big right now, who's thinking about diving into a business with a friend or a family member, that comes with a lot of risks. And you and I have talked about how our friendship is number one priority before anything else. But everyone goes into building businesses and things and any kind of partnership with good intentions. So if you could speak some wisdom into people who are considering doing this, what advice would you give?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is to take your emotions out of your business, because your emotions aren't going to get you anywhere as far as when it comes to your development of your business, right? I mean, emotions have a time and a place, but having very clear um, contracts, no gray area. And also, like, when I say get your emotions out of your business, be passionate about your business, right? Like, be passionate about the project you're working on, but choosing wisely of who you work with. Because, like, this is a perfect example. Like, you and I both have had experiences where we're like, I don't know. And then we've gone all in, and then it's been like a moment of heartbreak in some way, shape, or form, let down, or yeah, absolutely. And the thing is like, there's nothing wrong. Like, you learn something from those experiences. Okay. You learn something from those, and there's emotion towards that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, what is your goal with what you're wanting to do, and what is my goal, right? And if it works out that we can collaborate and like join forces and make something magical, let's do it. But when that time comes to an end, there needs to not be anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? And having those healthy conversations and that healthy dialogue and being able to communication, that would be the second. Like, not only be having no gray area and getting your emotions out of it, but communicating, even when you feel something doesn't feel right here. And then the other person that's listening being intelligent, emotionally intelligent enough to receive that, and to be able to come to common ground of, well, why do we not feel this way? How can I make it better? How can you make it better? And because at the end of the day, we have the same goals, right? The same goal for this one thing to be successful. And it's not me against you. We're in this together. And I think that's a lot of times when you're communicating with people, especially about money, people get defensive immediately. And and you could be the best of friends, you could be sisters, you could be, it could be mother daughter, like whatever it is. People get weird about money. And so having no gray area and knowing that you can have transparent conversation, and this is a safe space to do it because we're both talking about this collective project, then that is a safe partnership to extend. But if you don't have those two things, I'd bow out. I would do it on your own, and also, to the point, ironically, that announcing Rich Life Alliance, I would say keep it to yourself, right? Keep it to yourself as long as you can, because you don't want that outside influence until your foundation is built. And I think that's very important. That was one of the things I told you why I didn't want to tell people, because I didn't want that outside influence. I didn't want that energy in what we were building until we were sound and safe with what we were doing, and to where nothing could waver us. And here I am telling the world because I don't know how to not. So
I love that Stacey's been so patient this whole time, and I'm over here. I've not been a patient person my whole life. I've been working on it, but I've gotten much better. And I'm like, well, what if we just like dabble in telling some people? And she's like, no, 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 because this energy is mine and it's yours, and we're gonna build it until it's ready, and then it's gonna be a big explosive bomb that we send out into the world. It's a good bomb, right? But I'm like, well, what if we just screenshot a corner? Can we just tell someone what it maybe might look like? Both Stacy and I are visual communication majors. We love the graphic side of stuff. We love photography. We do videography. So her and I are very particular. And when you're building something not only beautiful, but powerful, and again, the alignment is happening in your personal life and your business life. There's just nothing but magic here. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Um, I had a really good question. You had said something and I lost my train. You said so many wise things today. And let me just say, I'm sitting at my kitchen table where there was a lot of those first brainstorming sessions, like very powerful shit happened here. We would have girls of all different backgrounds and walks and people that didn't even know each other. We would sit down here and we knew something was happening every night of the week. You know, it'd be Stacy one night with these three girls, and the next night Stacy wouldn't be here, but somebody else would. And I felt for the first time in my life, even though there's a lot of things behind closed doors, you know, that maybe we don't speak about, that's hard that we're navigating, I still felt so much peace because I was like, everything that I've been preparing for, oh my gosh, it's getting me tear up. Everything I've been preparing for, praying for, you know, like practicing. Personal development is huge for me, and I know it is for you. And so Stacy sat here. I'm pretty sure it was this exact seat. It might have been over here a little bit more. But the wisdom she spoke over us, and it's just like we were all out of body because she was in another place spiritually and intellectually, and the stuff she was teaching us in these moments, we were all just, I remember looking around the table and everyone was just, you know, like a child listening to their grandmother at night. I think I actually told you that one time. I'm like, you speak so soothing and you're so comforting, like your presence and your energy, everything about you and your aura and your intelligence, it's just all aligning for you too. And it's really cool. I told you this yesterday, to be alongside you and see it. But I will tell you, for those listening in, you have got to go check out her podcast, her coaching website. Again, all the links we put in, make sure you go visit, because you're going to get so much more fulfillment than just business education. You're going to touch the inner side of you that you've probably been dying to get out, and you're going to get that freedom from her. And so I love that we're having this conversation again. There's so many things I could continue to talk about with you. I thought it would be really cool for you to share a little bit about your passion for energy work and how you bring kind of that personal. I'm a big person on personal life and business blend because who we are carries between the two. And I know you feel a tiny bit differently, so you can speak on that. But how do you take all the knowledge of what you're doing in your alone time and your meditations? How do you bring that into your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, I've been really into energy since I was younger. I was able to see it when I was younger. I was able to experience it and feel it, and so it caused me to really go down the road of what is this, you know, which then forced me to ask the bigger questions in life, and then ultimately be very passionate about personal development, because your energy is literally the driving force of everything in your life, right? And so when it comes to business versus personal, it's like your business becomes an entity. The moment you develop this this idea, like you have grabbed it from the quantum and internalized it and developed it. And it's got a piece of you, yes. So that's where I agree with you on that. But it's become its own entity. It's become its own entity and now has its own energetic force, right? And so the people that put into that collective energetic force are going to influence that, right? So it's inevitable that you influence it. But that's where the personal side is very important, like your personal development, especially as a business owner. Your mindset, like your business can only grow to the capacity of your personal development. And until of course you get, you know, other people involved and it's no longer what you have to say and only you have to say. um, so there's, you know, energy is, I literally could go down a rabbit hole on this, and so like I'm trying to like keep it to a high level conversation, but
We'll
you
do
know,
part
it's
two.
yeah, part two for sure. But it comes down to being able to separate that. And so, you know, I will intentionally, to your question, I will intentionally meditate on my business. I don't intertwine the two. When I'm meditating on my own personal well-being, or if I'm sitting in silence to really hear my own intuition on my own well-being and what I need, that's when I consider that my personal time, right? But I will meditate on my business, on the entity of it. I've done it with Rich Life Alliance. You know, really learning to tap into that entity that we've developed. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, it's very important to separate the two, because especially as an entrepreneur, especially someone who works from home, being able to separate the two. I have an office I go into. When I'm in here, I'm on. I get ready for the day just as if I'm going into an office. I do everything I can to separate the two. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Okay, so then my question would be, do you feel like for those who are wanting to start businesses or that might be in businesses already or even be wanting to grow their business, do you feel like people can be their most successful in businesses if their personal life is in disarray, if they're not in alignment, or if they're dealing with something traumatic? We've all been through traumatic situations, loss, grief. We've been through stuff, especially at this age. So, do you feel like your personal life, aside from your business, can kind of be discombobulated or struggling and still be successful to its max capacity for business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. There's a lot of things that go into that. That depends, right? If you have, I think, okay, if let's say you're a solo entrepreneur, okay, solo entrepreneur. I can never say it. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. If you work by yourself, if you work by
An individual.
yourself, yes, if you're an individual, no, I don't think that your business can thrive in a sense of when you're in disarray. And I think that now it depends on what you call successful or thrive, right? You can make a lot of money, right? But your customers may be unhappy, or you may have situations where you have a lot of returns, or what, depending on your type of business. But like, I don't believe that if you aren't continuously working on yourself as an individual that has their own business, then I don't think that you're going to be able to skyrocket in the way that you want to, because you're never going to be fulfilled. You're never going to be fulfilled. You're never going to have that wholeness. You're always going to be seeking something else. And then you're going to get off balance. You're going to not have, you're not going to have, you may make a decision for your business that is not actually best for your business, because you're thinking in a scarcity mentality or a frustrated mentality, or triggered from a trauma experience, or whatever the case may be. You can still have monetary success, right? But I think the wholeness of what true success is, I don't know that you would be able to reach that,
Right.
you know?
Well, and you've walked along this journey with me, so you've seen that a business can survive when
Yeah.
someone is in the lowest season, but not thriving at its max capacity. So once the two are healed and you're developing forward and you're out of those cycles, it's just so beautiful. And this is where Stacy's at right now. And you all are about to watch her blow up. And I'm so excited for this. She comes with all the gifts, all the passion, all the cool, calm, and collected. But you're about to see her more. She'll be on more podcasts. I'm just a beginner here, but I'm hoping she's going to be on, the top podcasters. I would name them, but there's too many that I see her on. Honestly, at the beginning, she said she saw herself being Oprah. We've been talking about manifesting this and then chasing after that. So, one of my last questions would be is what would you tell our listeners about manifestation?
Whew. What I would tell them, so this is a very passionate thing for me. So manifestation for me comes easily. And the reason it comes easily for me is I'm a very emotional person. I've learned to tap into my emotions. This is why I said earlier, like, your emotions can still drive your business, right? Because you want that mission driven concept. Because the more your heart is in what you're doing, the more it will develop. Okay. So there's something called brain heart coherence, where if you put your brain, your thoughts, anything that you are seeing and telling yourself towards what you are feeling, you can ultimately create, and then your inspired action, the law of inspired action, put activity towards those two things that you're visualizing, thinking, and your emotions, then you're able to manifest that. And so when you are in a state of survival, if you're in a state of, oh shit, I can't, like you're stressed out, you're going to continuously create that stress because that's where your emotions and where your thought process is. And our brains go into a familiar loop of if something happened, we're going to replay it, right? Our brains just go into that. So you have to step out of that. You have to get yourself out of that, which is why I find moving, traveling, shaking things up a lot is really important, because it forces you to not go in complete autopilot. So really, ultimately, when it comes down to manifestation, it's those three things: your visions, your thoughts, your visualizations, your thoughts in your head, your brain heart coherence, your heart, where your heart is at, your emotions, and then your activity of what you do. So that's something I love to teach, and that's if that's something someone wants to go further into, I'm happy to help, because I firmly believe you can create anything in this world. I absolutely do, without a doubt. I don't just believe it, I know it from my own experiences and from all the studies that I've seen. Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you want to go down a rabbit hole of real true science from a neurologist that has actually done the work for you, that's someone to look into. But it's real, and it's amazing. So
And even down to the smallest words. So you've taught me so many things, and I've held on to them. Saying silly things, right? Like, oh, I'm dead today. I think you stopped me one time and you're like, you're not dead. I'm like, well, I'm just meaning tired. I'm just being silly. But words matter. Even when you're joking, even the little things, or saying like, oh, I'm so broke. I think when we very first met, if you can remember this, you can speak on it, but you said something like, we get to have $20 today. Like, we get to have a job that stresses us out, but we have a job. Like, we get to. So instead of saying, like, oh, I'm so frustrated, or I'm broke, it's always the mindset of looking at the positives, being intentional about that, and then that begins your manifestation journey.
absolutely. And to your point on the $20, I mean, it's relative, right? It's the law of relativity, and it's you only, when you're thinking of it's only $20. Well, it's because you're comparing it to 1,000. But if you're looking at zero, or you're looking at nothing, man, $20 is a lot. And so it's really comes down to not just your mindset of what you're relating it to, you know? And so it's like, and there's a meme I've seen before that says something like, I don't even know why I mentioned it because I'm going to butcher it, but it's something along the lines of, someone asked for $20 from someone. I'm just, never mind. I'm just, forget it. I don't remember what it is, but it's something along the lines of, well, this guy gave him $20. Oh, that's what it was. This homeless guy asked for $20 from someone, and he said he gave it to him. And then this homeless guy got $10 from another guy, and he gave it to him. Well, the $10 was all that guy had, but he was more grateful for the $20. But that guy was like a millionaire. You know what I mean? So it's like, am I making sense? It's like that $10 was more precious to that one person, but he knew that he would get more, and he wanted to help someone. So it's like still having that gratitude, or that gratefulness in your heart, and being able to help other people. No matter what you have, you can manifest it again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry
Girl,
for
I
my
could
dogs.
talk to you. I could talk to you all day, and I know people would want to hear from you all day. So, in order to do that, you've got to go follow her podcast now. You can listen to all of her nuggets of wisdom. My last thing here as we wrap up is, how would you encourage someone to keep going when they hit something in their life that feels like a roadblock, in their personal life, in their business life? How would you encourage them to keep going, so that, because you are a walking testimony, an example of someone who's overcome a lot? What advice do you have?
Whew, I would have to say, that two things. So, one, discipline. Create a routine in your day that no matter what, you do it. No matter if you feel like doing it or not, do it. Get your body moving to get that energy out of you. Because the moment you start moving your body, your thoughts are no longer taking over. It's your body is taking over. So that can get you out of that mindset. And inspired action, not just moving your body physically and for physical reasons, but taking action in something. Because anxiety is being stressed about the future, and depression is being sad about the past. Well, the only reason, all of that is mentality, and how to get out of your head is to move. So move your body. Move your body as
That's
much as you can.
scientifically proven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Move your body, and create discipline. Create discipline in your life, and also I would say, no matter what, show up for the people around you, because that's I am over this time frame in my life where I really had a lot of stress and things going on. I My support system evolved, and it was for a good thing, but a good reason. But you learn who is really like invested in your well-being and who isn't. You know what I mean? And not that
Yeah.
one is better than the other, but some just don't have the capacity. They mean well, but they don't have the capacity. But really learn who your support system is and who you can rely on to have that safe space to be able to talk and but make sure it's not just to vent and to gossip, or otherwise you're just going to continue the cycle. But find someone who is passionate about personal development that can lift you up out of the headspace that you're in. You know, so I would say that would be definitely a huge thing. And I think during mine, it was hard because I realized, crap, I don't think I really had my associations weren't as personal development focused as I am, and what I had hoped for. So that was a something that I intentionally was like, okay, I gotta get that, and I did, and now I'm so grateful I did, especially for you. You were a huge part of that. So
That
thank
makes
you.
a lot. Well, I hate to end it, but this was incredible. Thanks for sharing everything. We're gonna
Yeah.
do part two, part two, three, part four. Go listen to her podcast. Our best advice we could leave you with for those listening in is, when you see the whale, pack up and go. Just pack up and go. Trust your gut, trust the world. And Stacy and I are a great testimony of just believing in yourself and going after it. You've got this. Thank you, Stacy. I love you so much. It was
Love you
awesome.
too. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, love you, friend.
Love you. Bye.